Welcome to Prajavahini. I'm Archana Swami. Bangalore is hosting its Poetry Festival, which is an annual cultural event that celebrates the art of poetry in all its forms. A platform for poets, writers, artists, and enthusiasts to come together and engage in meaningful discussions, performances, and workshops centered around poetry. It was an honor in itself to have Padma Vibhushan Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia, India's most loved music director and composer, to inaugurate the event. The festival showcased a diverse range of poetic expressions, spanning traditional and contemporary styles, languages, and themes. It featured renowned poets like Javed Akhtar, Meeta Vasisht, Tanuja Chaturvedi, Jerry Pinto, and many more who shared their insights, inspirations, and experiences with the audience.
If you are interested in the medium of poetry as a genre, read a lot of other poets. Your thoughts have to be put down on paper as you think of them, and the music will come to it the more familiar you are with the genre.
Attendees enjoyed poetry readings, panel discussions, book launches, and interactive sessions that delve into the intricacies of language, emotion, and storytelling.
Reading graphic novels, it's okay. If they're reading poetry, great. They can read what they want to read. That's a way of sort of getting engaged in that process. And then I'm telling you, once you've discovered the world of books, that's what you want to do.
The thoughtful initiative by the organizers providing the event schedule in Braille format gave a valuable opportunity to comprehend the event for the visually impaired individuals as they could access and navigate the festival's timetable effectively, enhancing their overall experience and participation. In addition to this, the Bangalore Poetry Festival incorporated elements of visual and performing arts, creating a multi-dimensional experience for attendees. The festival's inclusive atmosphere encourages aspiring poets and newcomers to showcase their work and connect with the established figures in the literary world. Overall, the Bangalore Poetry Festival serves as a vibrant space for fostering creativity, nurturing literary talent, and fostering a deep appreciation for the power of poetry.
I think the highlight was today morning's conversation with Javed Akhtar Saab. It's not just about a person of his experience being able to articulate and talk about his lifetime of work in such a succinct manner, but there is so much that resonates with one. I was thinking about how much of the way I feel about dance is similar to the way he feels about poetry. This is not to compare myself with him, but we're all sort of in our individual journeys from different times, in different ways, through different paths. That's all I would say. So this Poetry Festival has been a lot of fun, meeting a lot of wonderful, talented writers, poets, artists, and fun conversations as well, and very, very, very informative sessions. Dance is visual poetry, and we are dealing with poetry all the time, whether it is from traditional classical texts or modern poetry and the entire range in between. We're dealing with poetry all the time, and through our movement, our expression, we are creating a space where I would say we are vessels, we are vehicles, a conduit between the poem and the audience, the spectator. And what is beautiful about the way we are able to express it through dance is that the moments are fleeting. The moment is there on stage, and that's it. It's gone. It's over. A poem in a book you can read. You can go and reread. Of course, now with YouTube and all of it, you can go and watch and rewatch. But it's not the same as that personal experience sitting in the audience that we share with between the dancer and the spectator, I would say.
Beautiful time to be talking about poetry, performing poetry, because there are so many things that need to be said, and poetry is this safe space where you can express yourself, whether you want to be unhinged, whether you want to rant. Poetry has become this space to talk about your emotions, to talk about everything, a space for confessionalism, and there's something very beautiful about that. So I'm glad that we have a poetry festival for that, and in Bangalore. So I'm from Bangalore, so it's like, okay, I'm also from Karnataka, and this is home for me, and it's beautiful. I love it. I love that we have a poetry festival. I think up until now, I was writing for a very local audience and limiting myself to the Indian audience. But whatever is coming out next, I see it reaching a global audience. But at the same time, I know my writing leans towards writing about very personal things, and when I say personal, it's about me, and I'm not going to just change my writing to fit the global landscape, but I like to see more local voices being put out there. I think that's what my agent is also doing. They want to bring more brown voices into the global, literary world. And yeah, I want to tell stories about my people. I want to tell stories about all of us, and I want to take that to a global scale. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I think Poetry Festival, this is the 7th year of Bangalore Poetry Festival, and I think every year there has been something new, not because it has to be something new, but they've always kind of looked at what can be added, what could be done to make it better. There's been music, there's been a lot of interdisciplinary arts. So in a sense, Bharatanatyam is not completely like oh, how could this come in? It's not so out of the the wavelength of poetry. But I'm really happy because I think dance also constantly seeks new spaces, new collaborations, new ways of presentations, and I think that way this platform is really, really amazing. And also in the piece that we are performing today, there is actually some poetry written by a poet who is Saurav Roy, who is actually here and part of the Bangalore Poetry Festival. So it's also very exciting for us to take poetry and to incorporate it into a performance. There have been a time when I've actually conducted a workshop. There's been a time when I've sat right across Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Saab to interview him. It was the curtain raiser, and so I've kind of sat in different chairs, different spaces in this festival, and this time I'm performing. So and it's always exciting, and even if I'm not doing anything a certain year, I absolutely love to be, even when I'm performing. Like yesterday I was sitting through all the sessions. It was just so interesting and so inspiring to listen to other people's poetry, and so there's never really what brings you here, because there's so much that could bring one here.
I think Bengaluru, you do not know how lucky you are to have a city like Bengaluru, where there are 4 or 5 wonderful bookshops on Church Street within like 10 minutes walking distance of each other. You have a literary festival every year, and you have a poetry festival every year. I hope you should be coming here in thousands and listening to the poets who come and listening to the authors who come, because when we come for you. We don't come for each other. We come to meet you, to see you. And you've got 2 poetry festivals. You're so lucky. So poetry for me is something I love. I love doing it. I love reading it. I love writing it. And so I'll do it. Whether it was the Rig Veda or it was the Psalms in the Bible, all our first prayers were poems. Because we take the rhythms from that familiar, lovely sound that we heard when we were at our happiest, when we were inside our mother's stomachs, in the womb, listening to the sound of her heartbeat. Lub-dup, 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 lub-dup. That's the first poem we heard. And it is associated with us with a feeling of comfort and peace. Then you get born and everything goes downhill, but at least at that time, you're calm, you're floating, you're happy. And the first sense that develops is the sense of hearing, and the last sense that goes when you're dying is the sense of hearing. So in between, poetry is that beautiful thing that accompanies us. It comes with us to us when we are sad, when we feel like reciting poetry. It comes to us when we are happy, when we sing birthday songs. It comes to us at every point in time. So poetry is like a companion, a shadow. And sometimes we ignore it, but it's always there.